You're trying to fast, but every time you do it, you hit the same wall. Day 1 is okay, day 2, your hunger is loud, and by day 3, you're opening the fridge like it's calling your name. According to Dr. Jason Fung, that's not because fasting doesn't work for you. It's because most people try to fast with a body that's still addicted to sugar and running on the wrong fuel. When your metabolism is still carb-driven, a fast feels like punishment. When your metabolism is fat-driven, a fast feels almost easy. So this video is about making fasting feel easy. If you're watching this and you're over 35, maybe insulin resistance is creeping in, maybe you're sitting most of the day, maybe your first hunger wave hits around 10 or 11 even if you ate breakfast, this is exactly who Dr. Fung built this approach for. We're going to talk about a simple 3-phase way to slide into fasting without white-knuckling it. First, we flip the fuel with a short fat-loading phase. Second, we place the fasting window where your hormones already help you. And third, we remove the triggers that make you fake hungry. Do this right, and you can get the weight loss, the lower insulin, even better mental clarity without needing monk-level discipline. Let's start with the part almost everyone skips, the fat fast. Dr. Fung explains it like a bridge. Most people go from their normal eating, cereal, toast, fruit juice, snacks, straight into I'm not eating for 18 hours. That's a metabolic shock. Your body is used to getting glucose every few hours. You suddenly remove it, and of course, your brain screams for food. But if, the day before your fast, you eat mostly fat, foods like eggs, avocado, olives, full-fat yogurt, salmon, even some bacon, something interesting happens. Your insulin barely moves. And when insulin stays low, your body gets the message, we're not in storage mode anymore, we can start tapping into fat. You're still eating, but metabolically, you're already moving toward fasting. That's the trick behind a fat fast. You're not starving, you're just teaching your body, use fat, not sugar. High-fat foods are naturally satiating, they empty from the stomach slower, and they don't spike your blood sugar. So when you wake up the next day and begin your fasting window, your body is already halfway there. And during the fast, Dr. Fung even allows tiny amounts of fat, a teaspoon of MCT oil and tea, a sip of coconut oil, sometimes a little bone broth. That amount of fat doesn't restart your insulin, but it does calm the hunger. Think of it like training wheels. You won't need it forever, but it keeps you from falling over in the beginning. Now here's the second piece people get wrong: when to fast. Most beginners assume breakfast is non-negotiable. But if you look at your hormones, breakfast is actually the easiest meal to skip. Fung points to circadian rhythm data that shows something weird. We are least hungry around 8 in the morning and most hungry around 8 at night. That's the opposite of what you'd expect. You've just slept 7 to 8 hours, you haven't eaten, and you're not hungry. Why? Because around 3 to 6 a.m., your body releases what are called counter-regulatory hormones, cortisol, growth hormone, some adrenaline. Their job is to pull stored fuel out of your liver and fat cells so you can wake up and move. Your body is literally feeding you from the inside. That's why you can go 10-12 hours overnight with no food. So the smart move, the Fung move, is to extend that natural fasting window. Instead of waking up and shutting it down with toast, juice, or a sugary coffee, you ride that wave for another 3 to 4 hours. Black coffee, green tea, water with a pinch of salt, then eat. That's your easy 16 hours. No heroics, no I'm starving. You simply didn't interrupt what your hormones were already doing. Later, once 16-8 feels normal, you can push to 18-6 or even one 24-hour fast a week. But notice the order. Fat prep first, circadian-aligned fasting second. If you skip the prep and just try to tough it out, you'll decide fasting isn't for you, even though your body could do it easily if it was set up right. Now let's talk about the part almost nobody mentions. Hunger is often fake. Real hunger builds slowly, it's in the stomach, and it goes away when you eat. Fake hunger is a craving triggered by seeing food, smelling food, watching a cooking reel, sitting at the same desk where you always snack, walking past the bakery at 11. Dr. Fung says 90% of failed fasts are not because the person needed food, it's because their brain got triggered. That means the environment is part of your fasting plan. So you protect your fasting window. Don't schedule your fast on the day you cook for the whole family. Don't go to the supermarket fasting. Don't watch food content. Don't sit in the kitchen to answer emails. Instead, you block those hours with something incompatible with eating, a meeting, errands, journaling, calls. When your attention goes away from food, the hunger wave usually passes in 10 to 20 minutes. That's why he often recommends simple things like pickle juice, salt water, or apple cider vinegar and water. Not because it's magical, but because it interrupts the wave, gives minerals, settles the stomach, and by the time you're done, the brain has forgotten to ask for food. There's another hidden enemy during fasting: sleep debt. You can be doing everything right, low insulin, good window, fat prep, and still not lose if your cortisol is high from bad sleep. High cortisol tells your body, we're stressed, hold on to energy. So even if you're fasting, the scale doesn't move. That's why Dr. Fung says, on fasting days especially, prioritize sleep. If you need to, use low-dose melatonin or magnesium in split doses, a bit early evening, a bit before bed, to keep your stress hormones from wrecking the results of your fast. Fasting is a stress. Training is a stress. Bad sleep is a stress. You can't stack all three and expect smooth fat loss. So let's put it together into a simple starter protocol you can actually follow. Day 0, prep. Eat mostly fats and protein: eggs, avocado, olive oil, salmon, nuts. Keep carbs minimal. This drops insulin and primes you for fat use. Day 1 to 3, fasting days. Skip or delay breakfast. Drink water with salt, black coffee, or green/mint tea. Use 1 to 2 teaspoons of MCT or coconut oil if hunger gets sharp. Eat your first meal around noon or 1 p.m. Make it protein first and low GI so you don't spike right back up. All days, don't scroll food, don't cook during your fasting hours, walk after meals to improve insulin, and get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Do this for a week, and most people notice the same 3 things. The morning hunger is almost gone, energy is more stable, and they're finally losing fat from the belly or waist area that wouldn't move before. Not because they tried harder, but because they stopped working against their hormones. If you've ever failed at fasting, it's probably because you started from the wrong end. You changed the clock before you changed the fuel. Start with the fuel, and your body will happily do the rest.